Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to recover from a bad entry. So for others that got to watch me trade live this morning, you're part of the Learn Plan Profit Group. If you guys want to check that out and learn a little bit more about that, click that first link in the description. But what I want to talk about today is just like, it happens, right? I took a bad entry point. I decided to take a position in something where I thought was extremely oversold, and it just continued to sell off. So DGAS just broke below 102.14, and I want to explain kind of like, this is first of all my opinion, my experience, and something that's helped me out. And I explained it right before I tuned off of the Learn Plan Profit live stream. I was down about $300 on my DGAS position, and it wasn't showing any signs of a recovery just yet. For those that aren't familiar with kind of what's going on, I first want to talk about why I decided to take my position. Then I'm going to talk about, I saw that it was not going according to plan, and then the plan that I formulated to get out of that position and managing my risk. So one thing that I want to point out is that natural gas, now it's made it's become very apparent to me, is it's showing signs of an uptrend. It's trading between the middle and bottom VWAP. But before all of this happened, right, it was right around like 640 or 650 that I decided to take a position on ticker symbol DGAS. And one thing that came about was, that it was still consolidating within this range. So one thing that I saw was that, natural gas was way down here, and then it began to push up very quickly, and it consolidated. And because in my eyes, it was building a resistance at 2.70, although the middle VWAP was still acting as like an ascending support, I saw that natural gas was overbought, and it made sense to me on why this thing could sell back off. So when it pushed back up to 270, I decided to buy the dip on DGAS. And again, this is something where I think maybe, regardless if this is how you've entered positions or not, one thing that I want to make sure that's clear is that, right after I took my initial position, it began to, sell off, as a natural gas began to sell off. That was in favor of my DGAS position, but then it found its support right above the middle VWAP and then continued to uptrend. And this is where, I was closing out the live stream because I only trade live for about 30 to 45 minutes. And natural gas was then showing signs of an uptrend, right? It was showing signs of an uptrend, and it just became, in my eyes, overbought, overextended. So the whole point of this video is, how did I recover from a bad entry? One thing that I realized is, first of all, you have to make sure that you manage your risk, right? You want to make sure that you set a max percentage loss or a max loss altogether. That's always something that has to be in the back of your head. The second thing is, I saw that natural gas pushed up very aggressively. I saw that with the RSI and with the MACD, it was overextended, and it made sense on why it could pull back. And that's something that I explained in that live stream on why I was still holding that position. So then when I began to see natural gas sell off, right, and then began to make lower lows, I added one more time to my DGAS position, which then helped me, right, as this thing began to uptrend. And this was the biggest thing. I ended up being able to close out my position in the green. So $49.13 overall on the day. It's not even about the profits at that point. What happened is, I didn't care if I ended the position red or green. Obviously, it made more sense. I would prefer green, as everybody else would. But what was much more important to me is, okay, we're showing signs of an uptrend. I'm not going to try. For my exit, normally when I'm selling something for a profit and it's going according to my plan, normally I will try to hold a position to sell it at a very effective and desirable sell price. That was not my intention when it came down to selling DGAS for $49. What my intention was I knew that this thing was descending. I knew that this thing was getting rejected between the middle and bottom VWAP. And I saw the MACD begin to peak out. I saw the RSI begin to consolidate. There was indicators that were showing me and making it very clear that DGAS was becoming overbought and that it had the potential to continue to downtrend. So then that's when I decided to sell my position at the 103.45. And it wasn't like, luckily, it ended up being in the green. But even if I was down then $100 at that time, I would have still cut losses at that price point, because there's a reason I should sell, because of my indicators. And the whole premise of this video, of how it is that I want to close it out, is I think, and there's two things that I want to explain. When I took that initial position and then I saw it not going according to plan, it kind of messes with you, right? All I wanted to do was get out of that position. That was all I wanted to do because I knew that the direction was not clear. It was not in my favor. And I didn't feel comfortable holding that position. So what I decided to do was, where am I going to exit? Regardless if it's in the green or in the red, all I wanted to do is to make sense. So it started to show signs of a reversal. I locked in profits, and that's why I decided to do that, because of the greater good. I knew that regardless if it was for a profit or for a loss, it's much more important for me to just get out of that position, because I don't want to bag hold it. I don't want to hold it all day. I don't want to hold it, for a number of days because it didn't go according to plan. I have to understand. I have to own up to, hey, my entry point was not the best. It's okay. We all make mistakes. But what am I going to do? What are my actions that I'm going to implement today that are going to help me out in the future, right? And like right now, I see natural gas to be overextended. So one of the things that I might consider to do is, because I see /NG a little bit more on the overbought side, I might try to buy the dip on DES again. But one thing that I did very poorly on my initial position is I added too aggressively at a price point that was not the best. So I need to be more selective with my entry points. I need to understand that, okay, now DES is trending down. There's another layer of risk that's added with a descending pattern, and you guys should all know that. And also, when you enter a position before the overall confirmation, that's another form of risk that you're adding to the formula. So my biggest overall best practice that I think I was able to implement today was how I was able to sell. I wasn't even looking at the P&L. How I was able to sell, it's almost like that blind trading challenge. You guys remember that? Because I saw indications of it, something being overbought or overextended. I feel like too many people, when they get in for a bad entry, all they ask themselves, how many of you guys have ever done this? Where you're just like, all I want to do is just break even. All I just want to do is just sell back at the price that I bought it at. That's irrelevant, right? Your entries, your exits have no relevance to how the market is performing. What is important is for you to be someone that takes action according to what they see, right? And when you see that there's consolidation on the RSI, the MACD is beginning to peak out, and overall the direction is not in your favor, those are all things playing against you. And it's better, in my eyes, just to get out of that position for the greater good, right? So you don't discourage yourself to ever trade again, or you don't experience more loss than you have to, because you're very aware of what's going on. So I just wanted to share that video instead of me just making I'm up $50 or something like that. I think this would be more of value, and making it super clear that, again, a stop loss or overall risk management is obviously super important. But there's also, I think, another way to approach it, where when you do see something that's extremely overbought and it's due for a pullback, then you can wait a little bit more for it to correct itself. And when it comes down to the inverse ETFs and stuff like that, on how you can correct yourself on that loss. So wanted to see kind of what you guys have to say. Thanks for that. Okay, nice. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any other questions or suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them down in the comment sections. I'm also always looking for different things to make videos on. I want to thank you guys again for 530,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. If you guys can tell, I don't look very good and I don't feel very good either. I'm a little sick, but I really do appreciate your guys' time. Hope you guys can continue working hard, continue following your dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. If there's anything that you guys want to do, if you guys would like to work with me on a closer basis and you're just getting started, feel free to check out that first link in the description. That's the group that I work with every day, and you can also get to watch me trade live every single day. Thank you guys again for your time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.